Hello. Hello? Oh, hey, this thing is on. So this is where we left off. You guys need to, let's go back. Let's go back to B. Let's talk about your statistical analysis and primary source evaluation. Isn't that exciting? Very exciting. Do you know what the man said when he lost his job from the rubber band factory? Do you? He said, "Oh, snap." Anyway, so let's talk about Chapter 21, Statistical Analysis. Okay, consider the 3 questions below, then answer them. Hopefully you got these questions answered. I don't think they were that pressing, but why do you think immigrants were perceived as a threat? If you even put this in today's context, why do you think immigrants today, or even immigration as a whole, needs to be addressed by the country, or a lot of people do think it needs to be addressed by the president? Why do you think immigrants were perceived as a threat? Well, a lot of times when they came over in large numbers. They didn't speak the language, and those people here, someone acted out of fear for their jobs, or fear that immigrants were going to work for lower wages or take their status that they had earned up to that point. So many times the perceived threat exists today in the same way that it existed then. Number 2, why do you think immigrants from different parts of Europe were perceived differently? Well, the biggest reason is the way that they looked and the languages that they spoke. But customs and culture were also a big thing. The way that they celebrated religious holidays or how they spent their Sundays. Also, I think the biggest thing was the way that they were looked and just perceived by the population that was here as a whole already. Number 3, how can you relate this to to contemporary issues? Well, hopefully you've kind of already talked about this and said that immigration has similar issues from then to today, but the biggest issue was the idea of losing one's job or losing one's political and economic influence. So these statistics here can hopefully help you relate to those issues. Okay. Number 2, it says, look at the statistics. Which group posed a threat to the nativists? Well, obviously I put threat in quotations because the threat was not necessarily a true threat, but just ones that the nativists perceived was a threat. Hopefully you put the group with the largest amount who immigrated over. This obviously changes. You have several different years here, and they aren't necessarily in chronological order, but it starts in 1850 and it goes all the way until 1920. And so this is pretty much the era, 1930, the era that we are discussing. You should have found a political cartoon from those dates and then copy and paste it into your document. You're going to have to take this political cartoon and change the cartoon and modernize it according to your thesis about immigration. So let's go ahead and move on to that part. So I'll go back here and then I'll click on trading cards. Trading cards, you should have talked about characterization, negative stereotypes, the countries that these groups are coming from. Obviously you see the man before, his name is Hans. It looks like Schloppenberg. So, he's probably German. Okay, he's coming from that area, but the way that they are stereotyped as saloon owners or drinkers, and then, he's a little bit thinner here, and him in this picture, he's a little bit larger, so that indicates wealth or greed. This one's Paddy O'Rourke, and then obviously he's coming from Ireland. You can see how he's depicted when he immigrates by his clothing, and then here are the jobs, okay, that are stereotypical of an Irish immigrant, and then you see how his face is changed. And this way that he is portrayed is usually the characterization or how Irish are negatively stereotyped in the United States. This one, this name probably indicates that he was Jewish and that we are fearing this man because of his religion. You can see that he's well dressed in this picture. In this one, he's selling toys or rags. He's some sort of store owner. And then you see this, how he changes in size from this as well. His lips are red, the nose is large, and also the characterization of the man, he is also physically large as well. You need to make sure that we then go to the D section, which is your notes, and then we need to make sure that you hit this page, and this is your homework page.